Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're beginning a new study today. We're going to begin a study of the life of Peter, which will take us through all four Gospels, the book of Acts, the book of Galatians, and Peter's letters as well. Oh, we'll also make a stop in the Corinthian letter too, because Paul references Peter, and Peter references Paul in his letter, in his letters too. So we're going to take some time to do that. We love Peter. I love Peter, and I feel like we need some time with the man we love, um, who is generally a good man. Even when he's at fault, we sympathize with him. There's only really one time in his discipleship that we really are truly disappointed in him, um, and we don't understand why he did what he did. Um, but anyway, we just finished our study of David's wives, and man, that was harder than I thought it was going to be because I love David too. I don't know if there's a man in the Old Testament we love like we love David. The way there's not a man in the New Testament we love like we love Peter. But there are times when it's just inexcusable things that David does, and we had to go through those times. But I wanted us to do that because we saw that there was a price to pay, and it was a high price. I think the Bible gets a bad reputation just for simply being honest. Like God is endorsing men's bad behavior in the Old Testament when he reports it. No, he's being honest about it. And he also is honest about the high price to pay for that bad behavior. Well, the Bible's also honest about Peter, and I think we're going to enjoy this study. Years ago, Tom Ritchie was starting a study of First and Second Peter in the auditorium class, and he did something I'll never forget. He just asked the audience, "We're going to study Peter's letters. What do we know about Peter?" And people could not talk enough. They took up the whole rest of the class, and hands were raised, and people they didn't get called on, and then they didn't get called on the third or fourth time because everybody had so much to say about Peter. Everybody had so many feelings about Peter because we love him so much. I love Paul. Where would we be without Paul? Nobody teaches us grace like Paul. Nobody experienced it like Paul. But I have to admit to you that I find Paul intimidating. I don't know. I don't know what he would have been like to be on a mission trip with, to be with 24/7. He's so intense. He's so smart. He's so good. Um, I find him a bit intimidating as a person. Peter, I just have affection for him, and you do too. And we're going to talk about him. Peter is a guy of some means. We're going to see this as we study. He lives in Capernaum. He's working class, but he's not a day laborer. He's not ordering his denarius a day, although sometimes he probably wishes he could have that denarius. He owns a boat. He and Andrew, he owns a boat, and he's a fisherman on the Sea of Galilee. That could be quite a lucrative trade. And a lot of guys made a living just standing on the seashore and casting a net from the shore. If you had a boat and could get into the deeper water of the Sea of Galilee, you could really make a good living and support a family. And he owns a boat, and he has a partnership with another group of guys who have a boat, the sons of Zebedee, James and John. And these guys are a foursome. They are friends. They go back a long way. They live in Bethsaida, which is near Capernaum. It's the fishing village of Capernaum. Capernaum is the second largest town in Palestine. It is a cosmopolitan town. It is a vibrant town of trade, a huge Roman presence, and not like in Jerusalem, because the Romans in Capernaum get their way in a way they don't get it in Jerusalem. Jerusalem being the homeland of the Jews. Jews in Jerusalem are protected by the Roman Senate in ways Jews in Capernaum are not. So he's kind of born on the frontier, so to speak. And But he is a man of some means. He's the older brother. He's always mentioned first. Andrew is his younger brother. He's from Capernaum. He's from Galilee, which means that people from Judea think of him as a hick, and they comment on that. when Jesus is being tried in Caiaphas's house. You're a guy. I can tell by your speech. You you sound like a Galilean. You're with him, and so there's that that we know about him as well. His brother Andrew, before he became a disciple of Jesus, was a disciple of John the Baptist. In fact, that's how he meets Jesus at all. He meets Jesus through his brother Andrew because John the Baptist connects Andrew and probably Philip with Jesus, and they spend the day with Jesus. And from the very beginning, he's introduced to Jesus as the Messiah. And from the very beginning, Jesus communicates to him, I'm going to change your life. I'm making claims on you because Jesus changes his name. Your name is Simon, but I'm changing your name to Peter, or in Aramaic, Cephas, Kaphes, rock. I'm changing your name to rock. Um, and um, and that sticks, and that's how we know him. And at the end of his life, what we know from history is that he dies, being crucified in Rome shortly after the burning of Rome by the Christians, and right about the time, I mean, not by the Christians, it was blamed on the Christians. What am I saying? The burning of Rome by Nero, when Nero began his persecution of Christians, and about the same time that the city of Jerusalem was destroyed. Well, next time we're together, we're going to talk about his little brother Andrew, what we know about Andrew, and then we'll begin our study of the life of Peter. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.